The secret to true happiness. Once upon a time in a quiet little village, there lived an elderly woman who was known for her kindness, wisdom, and ever-present smile. No matter what happened, she always seemed cheerful, and the villagers deeply admired her. Many would visit her to seek advice or share their worries, knowing that she always had comforting words to offer. One day, a curious young man from the village approached her and asked, "You always seem happy no matter what happens. Don't you ever feel sad when things go wrong?" The old woman smiled warmly and said, "My dear, life is full of ups and downs. Some days bring joy while others bring sorrow. But I have learned that true happiness comes from within, not from the events around us." The young man furrowed his brows in confusion. "How is that possible?" he asked. "How can someone be happy even when bad things happen?" The old lady sighed gently and began sharing a story from her past. "When I was younger, I had a loving husband and wonderful children. We were not wealthy, but we were content. Then one day, my husband fell gravely ill. We didn't have enough money for his treatment, and despite all our efforts, he passed away. It was the most heartbreaking moment of my life. I cried endlessly, convinced that I would never feel happiness again." The young man listened intently as she continued. "For a long time, I was lost in grief. But one day, I realized that drowning in sorrow would not bring my husband back. My children needed me, and I had to find a way to move forward. That's when I understood that life will always have both good and bad moments. I decided that I would not let hardships take away my ability to find joy." The young man looked at her with amazement. "But how did you manage to do that?" he asked. The old lady chuckled softly. "Every morning when I wake up, I remind myself that today is a fresh start, and I will look for something to be grateful for. Some days it's as simple as a bright sunrise, a blooming flower, or the laughter of a child. No matter how small, there is always something good if we choose to see it." The young man thought for a moment and then asked, "But what if something truly terrible happens? How can you still find happiness?" The elderly woman nodded knowingly. "It's not always easy," she admitted, "but I remind myself that nothing lasts forever, not even the bad times. When hardships come, I tell myself, this too shall pass. Instead of focusing on what I've lost, I try to appreciate what I still have: my health, my friends, and the simple gift of being alive. Happiness is a choice. You can dwell on the negatives and be miserable, or you can seek out the positives and find joy." The young man thanked the wise old lady and left, determined to try her approach to life. From that day on, he made an effort to find something good in every situation. Slowly, he realized that even in difficult moments, he could choose to remain hopeful and see the beauty in life's small blessings. As the old woman's wisdom spread throughout the village, more and more people began to understand that true happiness is not about wealth or circumstances, but about perspective. By choosing to focus on the good, they created a happier and more peaceful village, all thanks to the elderly woman who taught them the secret to lasting joy. Happiness is a decision that comes from within. No matter how tough life gets, we can always find something to appreciate. Hard times will pass, but a positive mindset will help us stay strong and content.